Alright guys, it's Vision here with Blind Entertainment, bringing you guys another video. Today discussing The Walking Dead Season 8B, which is set to premiere Sunday, February 25th, with the new tagline, The Last Stand. I'm very excited for this. I really like this poster. I really and I'm looking forward to the second half. So if you're interested in The Walking Dead or my thoughts or just anything pertaining to The Walking Dead, hit the subscribe button down below and hit the bell icon. That way you'll be notified the next time I upload anything having to do with The Walking Dead. Now let's get started. Alright, so the article I'm going off is from Deadline.com. If you want to check out the full article, I'll have it linked in the description down below, but I'm going to kind of be paraphrasing here. So, the article first starts off by saying Rick, having been distracted from the war, returns home to find Carl bitten after heroically leading the Alexandrians to safety from the attack led by Negan. Once Rick's sole motivation, he is now forced to deal with this cruel, harsh reality as the war surges on around him, and the survivors and Rick are forced to learn and deal with this harsh and sad reality that faces them moving forward in the war. Now this is something I'm very interested to see play out in the show moving forward. I feel like the death of Carl is something so unexpected. I'm really interested to see how Rick deals with this along with the fellow survivors like Michonne and Negan, maybe even Morgan, as they go forward in the war. I mean, they're the ones who have mainly had the biggest effect in screen time of Carl, so I'm very interested to see how they deal with this. I know I think Gimple said that this is one of the reasons that Rick eventually will lock Negan up at the end of the season. I still don't agree with that. I don't think you need a Carl to die, but whatever, this is what's happening. But I'm still interested to see how this will affect the show moving forward. Moving forward in the article, it goes on to talk about how Rick and the survivors at Alexandria are the only ones living in peril at the moment, as Enid and Aaron have landed themselves in some hot water over at Oceanside, and it talks about how this is something that they're unsure about, whether they've just stumbled upon a new enemy and whether or not their relationship with Oceanside has been compromised, and they have just made a new kind of enemy in this war against the Saviors. Now this is something I was kind of surprised to read. I thought Oceanside was going to just join the war. I mean, I know a few of them probably will be mad at Aaron and Enid for killing Natanya, but I feel like most of Oceanside residents will and do want to fight the Saviors. I feel like majority of them will join the militia and fighting the Saviors. I mean, I think, of course, you have a couple of them stay behind, take care of the kids, maybe, and I think maybe some people will stay behind that will be mad at them for killing Natanya, but I think this is kind of misleading. I feel like they will eventually join the militia in the fight. I feel like this is kind of just repeating last season with the Kingdom and Ezekiel when they didn't want to join them originally. I feel like if they do that whole thing again, I feel like it's just kind of repeating the story. So I really hope that they just kind of go over that quick and they quickly join the militia in the fight. Next, moving on, the article goes on to talk about how Father Gabriel will go on to help smuggle Dr. Carson out of the sanctuary. I'm very excited and interested to see how the storyline plays out. I really don't think Gabriel's dying this season. I know it's a common thought among the fan base that Father Gabriel's dying this season, but I do not believe that. I don't think we've seen enough of him yet this season for him to be able to die off. I think maybe next season if the Whispers show up, but I don't think this season. And I'm really excited to see how he gets there, especially since he's sick. I'm really excited for that. This is one of the arcs that I'm very excited to see, and I'm really glad that Eugene ended up helping him out and kind of sort of redeeming himself from what he's been doing. Moving forward, the article talks about how Maggie will have to wrestle with some gray areas when it comes to the moral ideas during wartime, along with having to deal with a standoff with the Saviors, in which she'll have to decide the lives of the POWs who are currently, their lives are in her control, and she'll have to deal with a bunch of other kind of wartime issues that come along with being leader during war. Now, this is one storyline I am also interested in. I feel like Maggie and the Hilltop has kind of been neglected this so far in the season. I feel like they have had some little stuff with the POWs, but I feel like it's been mainly overshadowed by the many different outpost battles and the scavengers stuff. But so I'm really hoping, especially since if you read the comics, you know that the Hilltop is focused more on in part two of All Out War. So I'm really looking forward to seeing how the Hilltop is doing in the war. Then another thing the article talks about, which I'm really excited to see happen, is how each community is going to have its own separate thing to be worrying about in the second half. First, with Alexandria being destroyed, they're going to have to be looking for a new home and, having to deal with the Carl situation. Then you get the Hilltop, which it says is going to be pinned down. My thinking is the Saviors probably think the kingdom's under their control, Alexandria is destroyed, and their residents are probably dead, and they'll probably be hunting down the last survivors of it. So they'll probably be focusing most of their manpower on eliminating the last piece of resistance, which would probably come from the Hilltop. So I feel like they'll probably take their army and pretty much bury everything down on the Hilltop to try to make them surrender. But I feel like they'll end up being repelled by Brick and the Alexandrians as they come to the Hilltop like they do in the comics, maybe even with some allied help from Oceanside and maybe even the scavengers. I don't really know where the scavengers will fall into play, but they could maybe come back as good guys. I'm not totally sure. I feel like it could go 50-50. But then there's the Kingdom, which I'm very excited to see, because the Kingdom, I feel like this story arc is probably the most exciting to me, because it didn't end up happening in the comics. It says how the Kingdom, half their people are killed, and half of their people are under the control of Gavin and the Saviors. So that's something I'm very interested to see play out, because in the comics they were not occupied by the Saviors in the comics, and they were actually ended up going to the Hilltop with the rest of the survivors and fighting the survivors from there. So I'm very interested to see how their occupation goes and what goes on with Ezekiel, because he never surrendered during the war either. So that's probably one of the three story lines I'm really, really excited to see play out between all three kingdoms communities. Next, over at the Sanctuary, the article talks about how Negan's going to have struggle amongst his ranks, among workers and traders and others. Now, this is something I'm very interested to see play out. I hope it's not filler. I really want them to do something where it's like good saviors and bad saviors against each other. Maybe some saviors desert and go and join the militia, and others stay behind and still fight with Negan. This is something I'm very interested to see play out, and I'm very interested to see how they incorporate this in the story. I really hope it's not filler episodes and we just got multiple episodes where it's just saviors bickering amongst each other. But this is something I definitely am glad they're putting in the story. Maybe make it interesting, but just not filler. Finally, the article talks about Eugene, and the article says that Eugene has finally handed the saviors a victory, or helped give them a victory in some way, but now is constantly facing a new obstacle that is troubling him in a way. Now, I'm wondering if the obstacle or victory that he helped them win is referring to the Saviors being able to escape the Sanctuary, or if it's referring to him maybe coming up with the idea for the Saviors to weaponize the Walkers against the militia in their final attack. I'm wondering which one it's actually referring to. I'm not sure yet, but I'm very interested to see how that plays out in the story arc. I think I have an idea of how they could make Eugene a good guy again. I'm not totally sure if that's how they're going to go, but maybe I'll talk about that in another video about how I think Eugene could be reintroduced as a good guy into the series. So yeah, that's the article. I'm very interested to see how these storylines play out in the second half of the season and what the story is going forward with the Saviors, the militia, and all the other ones out there like Oceanside and the Scavengers. Even though Scavengers aren't one of my favorite characters, I'm very interested to see how all these different communities end up and how their stories wrap up towards the end of the war. Lastly, I want to just quickly give my thoughts on the poster of the second half of the season. I really like this poster. I like how they got Rick, Michonne, and Daryl. They got their leader and his two right-hand men standing right next to him on the battlefield, I'm presuming. I really, really like this. The only thing I kind of have to go against it is Rick. I feel like I don't know, I feel it's a little goofy looking. I do like it, but at the same time, it looks goofy. I like how they do have it looking like he's like primal kind of fighting, but I also feel like it's goofy kind of looking. I don't know. It might just be me, but I just kind of find it a little goofy looking. Other than that, I do enjoy this poster, and I'm really looking forward to what's coming up in the second half. This is definitely something I'm really excited about, and definitely something I'll be giving my thoughts on and reviewing when The Walking Dead returns in February. So stay tuned if you're interested in that. So alright guys, those are my thoughts on this Walking Dead poster in the second half of the season and the article. Again, if you like what you see, please hit the subscribe button down below and hit the bell icon. That way you'll be notified the next time I upload anything having to do with The Walking Dead or any other content you're interested in. Also, check out some of the other videos I have put up here on Blind Entertainment. This has been Vision, and I will see you next time.